of the multiple theories about the origin of the flamenco, some enjoy great acceptance, another sounds more like anecdotes. For example, one claims that the word flamenco comes from the word cuchillo, that in English means knife, or the word comes from navaja, that in English means razor. Another claims that the word comes from the bird flamenco, and the last one considers that the word is about something or someone native from Flanders. The most accepted theory about the origin of the word flamenco comes from Antonio Manuel, that maintains that flamenco comes from the Arabic expression fela menkub, and fela means peasant and menkub means someone that's dispossessed not only from the material goods but also from their identity. Also in Spain we have the expression ojalá, that probably comes from the Arabic insha Allah, and the meaning is God's will. And what is really interesting is we have the same expression in Brazil. And one hypothesis about the word olé that we listen all time in soccer games or in flamenco concerts probably comes also from this expression ojalá, and ojalá suffered a contraction to Allah and then a phonetical variation to olé. Well, this hypothesis is widespread, but has too little historical proof. Is flamenco a gypsy art? Well, gypsy comes from Egyptian, but as some Romani studies provides, Romani spoken by gypsies are more similar to Hindi or Punjabi spoken by the population of northwest India. This theory that supports that flamenco is a unique and exclusive creation of gypsies has Antonio Mairena and Ricardo Molina Tenor as supporters. Well, according to the book, this theory has a problem, because gypsy live all around the world, and outside of Andalusia, in none of these regions had gypsies produced nothing similar to flamenco. Well, another theory would be that flamenco is purely Andalusian product, and its basic palos derived from the folklore of this region. Well, what is palo? Palo actually means wood stick, but we can understand palo as how we divide the music styles in subgroups inside flamenco. Well, we can also take as example the buleria, that bulerias come from bula, and bula is the noises that are made by people at a wedding party. Well, when we take the buleria and slow down, we have the soleá. And when we also take the rhythm of buleria and turn around, we have the seguidillas. The same thing happens with tientos that emerges when we take the tangos and slow down. The hypothesis defended by the author of the book is that was no true mixture between Moorish and Gypsies. In fact, the Moorish pretended to be Gypsies, therefore not to being persecuted by the Inquisition, and also without having to become a wanderer. Well, the Gypsies were not a true threat to the state, but they were still people to be evangelized. The same thing did not happen with Jews and Muslims that were strongly persecuted and murdered. Now, the Gypsies were people to be evangelized because of their petty crimes and also because of their nomadic lives, because they were not settled, they didn't pay taxes, and also couldn't be recruited to the army. Well, flamenco is really connected in the beginning with agricultural activities and also with blacksmiths. These activities were more practiced by Muslims than gypsies. Well, gypsies, since they had a nomadic life, couldn't be able to practice these activities. It's often said also that flamenco is a music of blacksmiths. We can mention, for example, the martinete, and martinete comes from martillo, and martillo means in English hammer. This tool was really important in the blacksmith trade. Well, this also explains the great existence of some Moorish words or the reference of some Moorish poetry in the time of Muslim Spain. Well, some poetic forms from this time we can give as examples like La Moaxaja, La Harsha, or El Tzechel may have influenced some flamenco lyrics. Also, the importance of matriarchy in some artistic names in flamenco, such as La Luz, La Juliana, or De Lucia. For example, Paco de Lucia, and Lucia was the mom of Paco, that's why Paco de Lucia. Well, according to the author, this could be considered as a Muslim heritage, despite of the strong patriarchal influence in Muslim culture. According to the book, the first time that flamenco appeared was in Jerez de la Frontera and developed along the Cádiz-Sevilla axis, where were the Guadalquivir marshes, a place since ancient times, Tartessian, Turdetan, Roman, Christian, and Muslim people lived. Well, after the Mudéjar revolt, a rebellion against the relocation of Muslim people in the region of Low Andalusia and Murcia in the time of 1599 and 1500, La Coroa, the crown, in the time of 1502, sentenced a new order for Muslims, the conversion or the exile. During this time, a great instrument of religious and ideological control was created, lo Tribunal del Santo Oficio de la Inquisición. Well, all manifestations considered heretical or non-Christian were prohibited. Well, the idea prevails when the oppressive regime wins, when a self-censorship becomes normalized. There is no form of greater domination of population than depriving them of their history, culture, and language. The coexistence of old Christian, Muslim, and new Christian populations was not completely successful, since it was a system based not in egalitarian relationships between winner and loser, dominated and dominant. Well, but who were exactly the Moorish or Moriscos? According to the dictionary of Real Academia Española, said by one person, Muslim, that after the Reconquista or Reconquer was baptized and stayed in Spain. But one important information is missing, that some Moorish people, despite being baptized, continued to cultivate their religion, but in secret. Well, the conclusion is that flamenco is a music not from rich people, but poor people. Flamenco is a music not from powerful people, but humble people. And also that's why flamenco was always marginal and was connected to bad life, prostitution, and crime. But after flamenco entered to the academic field, and also after being recognized by UNESCO as an important heritage of humanity, was already a great effort from some important figures like the composer Manuel de Falla and also the composer Joaquim Turina, from the writer Federico Garcia Lorca, or from the researcher Blas Infante, to open a new panorama of recognition of flamenco. Well, to finish the video, I would like to share my experience with flamenco because I visit some places to learn flamenco. I visit Málaga, Jerez de la Frontera, Sevilla, and Huelva, and my feeling was that I was always welcome, and this is a great feeling. It's interesting to think that I was welcome from people that in the history were all time persecuted or not completely accepted by society. And maybe flamenco is the only music that can bring together Jew, Muslim, and Christian in the same place to make music. So flamenco is a lesson of love.